What up, man?
Uh, hey, Rich. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know your schedule's quite hectic. Look, honestly, I'm just genuinely curious about learning about product management. We want to learn about AI, how it's going to change the industry, and of course, the field of product management overall. Thank you for your time, by the way. I look forward to this conversation, man. Thank you for being here.
Of course, man. Of course, dude. I enjoy talking to you, and as trying to get on as many podcasts as possible, to pretty
Yeah.
much spread the word, man. So hit me with the questions. How can I help out?
Okay. So all the questions that I'm asking are just from the general public that have kind of come up to me knowing this meeting was coming up. I wanted to make sure they got as many answers from the questions that are going to be useful. I mean, kind of tell me, how can somebody break into AI product management in 2025?
How can somebody break into AI product management in 2025?
That is
I think
correct.
the first thing that they need to do is
Mm,
recognize that they need to learn the skills. And in our curriculum, we already have a
hmm
list of AI product management skills. So what we've dubbed as level one skills are what do you do every single day as a product manager on a day-to-day basis? And how do you implement AI to go ahead and do your job in a less amount of, like in a shorter amount of time? So for example, as a product manager, you have to write product requirements document for so your engineering team understands what they need to go out there and
hmm
build. Effectively, that is
Okay.
like the menu order or the lunch menu of the day, right? Like we
hmm
and that sometimes can take a product manager
Okay.
to write a very simple feature that can take them sometimes 3 or maybe 4 hours. And that's a
hmm
combination due to they're constantly distracted, they're in back-to-back meetings. So
mm
it's very difficult for them to just shell out a block of time because they're getting pinged on Slack, like, hey, we need you for this. AI
hmm
right now can write that product requirements document in
Wow.
very, very clear detail, step by step, and then like steps within steps as to what you need to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you need to learn all these skills, go to market strategy, or like, let's just say you and I have a
Okay.
meeting right now, and we're going to talk about our go-to market for Tinder in the UK next month, right? We're going
Yeah.
to have this new feature for
Yeah.
Tinder in the UK. And let's just say you're on the marketing department, I'm the product manager, and you're the product marketing manager, and you want me to go
hmm
ahead and create that freaking go-to-market doc or all of the slides. That could easily take you 2 days of time. AI right now, with just the conversation that we're having, can take the
Wow.
transcription and immediately create the slides for you.
Wow.
The problem is most product managers are too busy on the job to learn AI. And
Mm.
they don't like, it's like there's 50 tools that can basically do that. And if I'm going to spend 4 hours learning it, a lot
Mm.
of them think this. I might as well just go ahead and do it right now, real quick, because it needs to get done.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just going to take like 2 to 4 hours and I'm going to
Yeah.
do it. I'm going to recycle some of the slides. But eventually, the
hmm
product manager that does have the skills is going to go ahead and beat you out on on the next role when you have to go out there and interview.
Wow.
Right? So what we do here is
Yeah.
let's equip you with all of the skills that you need to be successful on the job and effectively
hmm
cut your workload down to at least 50 to 80% in terms of time you need spent.
Wow. Wow.
So if you can do that, that means now you have at least 50% more time to take on other things for other people. And this
Mm.
basically the next level up is like, okay, how do I go out there and help my manager automate his or her time? Or how do I go out there and help other team members like a software engineer? How do I help them automate a little
hmm
bit more of their time? But
hmm
first, you got to get everything you got to get done in less time to be able to help out other people.
Yeah. Have
So
more time. Yeah.
we do that from a combination of developing the skills first, launching
Okay.
a YouTube channel to go out there and display that you have these skills. And why is that
Oh,
important?
okay.
So YouTube is going to be very important to breaking into AI product management because like before your side project may have been a website, but nowadays the real champs they are narrating what
Hmm.
they did from the very beginning to the end. So they'll say, "Hey, my name is
Wow.
Tendai. I just put together a whole marketing presentation in less than 30 minutes. So I had a meeting right now with my product manager. His name is Rich. He's based in New York. I'm
Hmm.
out here in London, and it's impossible to
Hmm.
grab time with the guy because I'd rather be
Hmm.
drinking at 5. And of course, in America, all the right. So I got an
Yeah.
hour and I got an hour and 15 minutes with them. I'm gonna take our entire transcription from the meeting we just had
Yeah.
on. I'm going to upload all those words and I'm going to go out there and tell Canva, I want to create a go-to marketing doc with this.
Hmm.
I want you to go ahead and use the Tinder logo. This is the standard Tinder presentation slide format, and I want you to, and then boom,
Hmm.
and you got to understand that a lot of people that are hiring, they're always on YouTube looking how to do their job better.
Mm.
So when they're on YouTube and they're like, holy shit, like this guy
Mm.
Ted I just applied, I was actually been watching his YouTube videos. Who do you think is going to get the job or the interview easier? It's going to be you because I've been like,
Yeah.
holy crap, I've been watching that guy. Right. So
Hmm.
just like how I know that you do a lot in the fitness space, right? Like a lot
Yeah.
of a lot of people that was in the fitness world, my buddy's wife during that time, she launched her Pilates over Zoom, right? They were
Wow.
they were watching this like on because there was no place to go and there was nothing to do. They were watching a bunch of
Yeah.
this content on YouTube, and then they ultimately decided,
Hmm.
like, hey, I want to go ahead and like I want to pay for like the Zoom Pilates classes. So you're not only
Wow.
going to have to learn the skills, but you also have to understand that in order to break into the role, you have to display those skills and
Hmm.
you have to actively be marketing yourself.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's very insightful. Thank you so much. I mean, look, hearing that the best way to kind of set yourself apart is to have that YouTube channel, is to present yourself, the journey that you've been through, as you said. And the only question I would have, I mean, look, speak to the person who's intimidated about getting on camera or feels like it's overwhelming to post. What advice would you give that person to get started and, put themselves apart from the rest of the market?
You can absolutely make it faceless. And you just got to start somewhere, right? So if you don't want to
Mm,
go ahead and put your name or your face out there, because some people might say, like, well, I have this job. What if my job has a problem with me putting
mm,
my face out there? Well, then just call
hmm.
yourself product management T.
That
Right?
works.
I mean,
Yes, that's
seriously,
really cool.
because like nowadays with ChatGPT, it's so easy
Hmm.
to go ahead and just create a prompt. So other things that companies are looking for when they're hiring an AI product
Hmm.
manager is
Hmm.
can this person does this person have good communication skills and why is that important? Can
Mm.
this person teach our team members AI?
Okay.
So right now companies are like everybody's saying learn AI. That's just like eat healthier. And
Yeah.
like
Where do we go from
where
there?
should we begin, right? There's like a new AI
Yeah.
that's being released almost every hour, and they don't know
Yeah.
where to start. They don't have a framework and how to learn it, and they don't know how to implement it. Meanwhile, they have like a
Hmm.
live operation that's going on. So,
Hmm.
the best way for you to do it is like
Hmm.
companies if you have AI skills, you're going to be more competitive than the product manager that doesn't have AI. And I'm not just talking about product management, that's just
Wow.
every job across the board, right? But
Yeah.
if you're able to explain AI to your teammates, like I spent
Hmm.
20 hours learning this. So when I teach this to you, you only really need to spend 25 minutes learning it. Now that to a company is very attractive
That's
because the
valuable.
learning curve
Hmm.
is actually going to be
Hmm.
that initial learning period is actually going to be the biggest friction point.
Hmm.
Uh,
Wow. I mean, I agree. I mean, you set yourself apart when you're able to educate yourself and educate others. I mean, that's just makes it easier, more accessible, makes it contagious. I think the only question I would have, of course, you're building a brand. You mentioned your uh, friend during COVID starting her Pilates class. Let's say someone sees this video, right? They love the concept of AI, product management. They want to get involved, but they don't have a personal brand yet. Would they need a personal brand to go out there and market themselves? How would they kind of navigate being in that space?
That's not a chicken and the egg situation. You got to create the content first, and then the traffic is going to follow. So, in addition to product management, I also create a lot of content
Mhm.
for tech sales, entrepreneurship, how to pitch investors,
Wow.
for startups, cybersecurity. And
Wow.
like, I always create the content first, and then the traffic follows. You cannot have a brand until you start creating content. And you have to start
Hmm.
creating content in order to have a brand. A lot of people feel shy about creating content until they have a brand. It is not a chicken and the egg problem.
Hmm.
You have to start creating content right now.
Wow. That's definitely, I think that's quite eye-opening. I think a lot of us are intimidated to get started. That's what the friction point is. So if you're saying getting started is the best thing, I mean, explains why you're so busy if you're doing so many things. Might as well be Superman, man. You
I
got hands
try,
in different parts.
I
I mean,
try.
look, let's say someone steps into the industry, right? What can they expect concerning, um, say annual income or opportunities out there, once they've captured the education about product management and AI? What can they expect going forward in their career?
AI product managers pretty much starting any same level with a product manager, they can expect like a
Hmm.
25% increase. But the cool thing about AI is
Wow.
it's very results driven. So if you
Hmm.
have, let's just say, like one of the things that AI is doing right now is automating away customer success teams. So if
Yeah.
an average customer success manager is just making at the very low end $50,000 a year US. Some of them making $90,000 a
Hmm.
year US. But let's just say
Hmm.
you have 10 people on the customer success team. That's anywhere between 500 to $900,000 a year in payroll that you're automating. When you're driving that type of impact, you don't have to
Yeah.
wait a full year to renegotiate your salary.
Hmm.
So it's not like, oh, I have this certification, I give you X amount of money. It's just like you got to think
Hmm.
about it like this. You're a bartender at my restaurant, and
Hmm.
you go out there and say, Rich, every night you have me tending bar is the highest paid night. Monday night is the highest paid night. You had me the week before, it was
Yeah.
Monday night was the highest paid night. So I need a pay
Hmm.
raise. So you can't just be
Hmm.
like, I have 4 years of bartending experience. I should get paid more. It's like, no, I'm going to pay you what you basically help pay me. So
Hmm.
if you're
The value
bringing
you
in a
bring,
lot
right?
of revenue yourself or you're driving a lot of impact, then
Hmm.
obviously you're going to be entitled to more money and it's going to be easy to negotiate
Hmm.
a higher pay.
Yeah, 100%. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Value proposition, you can't be asking if you haven't got anything to offer. That's definitely a very good point. One thing I do want to ask is concerning N8N automations. What is that? Kind of give me a good understanding of, why product managers should learn that specifically to help give them a benefit in the industry.
Got it. So what is N8N? N8N is
Yeah.
it's basically an automation framework to build AI agents. So let's just say
Okay.
we have a very manual flow. Uh, so we go ahead and, for example, this YouTube video that this podcast that we're recording right now, we
Hmm.
want to go ahead and we're going to create a bunch of AI shorts, use AI to create a bunch of
Hmm.
shorts. That's fun, right? So, okay,
Hmm.
once we upload the video, manually speaking, we would have added it to before AI, we would have manually edited into 45 or 60-second clips. Now we can do the full 60
Hmm.
seconds. With AI, it does the 60 seconds automatically, but I still need to
Wow.
manually add it over, right? What NAN would allow us to do is, okay, as soon as this video is uploaded, it creates a trigger
Hmm.
where all these shorts are basically going to be created. And after that, it's going to
Hmm.
go back into YouTube. It's going to go back into LinkedIn. It's going to go back into Instagram. So it would allow
Hmm.
me to create a lot of customizations. But before, I would have a checklist and just let you know step by step.
Hmm.
Every time we do a podcast, you have to follow these procedures. NAN allows you
Hmm.
to go ahead and just do that. Just a click.
Wow. I mean, if you were to suggest a platform, as a starting product manager, you got AI, you want to get your brand out there, what platform would you say is, you know, the most, I guess, influential? You did mention YouTube, but are there any other social media platforms that you suggest we utilize to increase our, of course, our outreach?
Instagram and TikTok is great, but LinkedIn is
Okay.
also another really good one. But people need to
Okay.
recognize that YouTube is the second largest search engine after Google search. And people still use YouTube to try to solve problems. So I remember when I bought my Canada Goose jacket and I couldn't unzip it, I went on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
because their zippers are known to be notoriously bad for an extremely overpriced parka. So
Uh-huh.
um uh yeah, so like people still want
Mm-hmm.
some type of like visual, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to be searched there. Like Instagram and TikTok video content is not very searchable. It's like most people are just encountering it just due through doom scrolling. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the other thing is people that are very serious about solving a problem, let's just go back to um let's just say I want to build an AI agent to go out there and apply to jobs
Mm-hmm.
for me. I'm gonna watch the whole 1 hour
Yeah.
video
That's correct.
because I don't want to apply to
Yeah.
jobs myself,
Yeah.
right?
100% cool, man. Yeah. What advice would you give to someone? Look, they will have a startup. They want to, be like you. Be a founder of product, gym, of course. You know, do all these different things. What advice would you give to the person who's inspired by seeing your story and what you're saying about product management? What's that first step in the door?
Uh, I would say learn how to drive a result and just go for it. Like right now, I'm a part of another AI startup where we're showing people how to go and essentially cold call better by doing conversational AI.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I'm just learning so much from people that are like, 10, 15 years younger than me. Some of them are as young as like they're in high school right now and they just don't give a
Mm-hmm.
shit and they're just going for it. Think the more that you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, the more you're just going to think yourself out. And there's so many inspirational
Mm-hmm.
stories every single day where people are like, I built this whole business on my phone. I didn't even have a computer. Like there really is no
Right.
excuses. Any amount of time
Mm-hmm.
that you spend thinking about how to do something, you might as well just go ahead and do it. And this is actually why I'm encouraging people to go ahead and just join up for our
That's
next
right.
upcoming cohort because
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows by and large, a lot of people argue that they don't know what to do. I actually think a lot of people know what they need to do. They're just not doing it, and they're not doing it consistently. If you
Correct.
want to learn how to speak French,
That's
you got
correct.
to be consistent. If you want to go out there and learn how to
Yeah.
you got want to learn how to code, you got to be consistent. If you want to learn how to sell, you got to be
100%.
consistent. And the thing is,
100%.
anything requires you to be consistent for at least 45 days. If you want to study to be a lawyer for the exam, at least in
Mm-hmm.
America, is like 6 months, right? There's just like getting the body that you want, there's nothing fancy about it. There's nothing sexy about
Mm-hmm.
it. You're talking about
It's
being
pain.
like consistent. And you
Yeah.
are in a position where you can afford to have that one-on-one engagement. Like when you sign
Mm-hmm.
up to do a superhero movie in America, they
Mm-hmm.
spend $1 million to make sure you look like Captain America, right? Like someone
Yeah.
like essentially if you're not a complete degenerate, you will look like a superhero in like 8 months. They
Mm-hmm.
will get you freaking ready.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
the next best thing is doing it in a group. That's why like
Mm-hmm.
people that train for marathons, they train for it in a group. That's why students they have study groups. So you
Mm-hmm.
need some sort of positive reinforcement to go ahead and actually do this. Otherwise, like very
Mm-hmm.
few people have the will to do it on their own consistently, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I recommend like that's actually part of our upcoming AI product manager curriculum is how to go out there and pitch
Wow.
these and investors. Um,
Yeah.
do it with other people because like nobody's going to go out there and pitch one investor and get a deal. So if you're doing it with other people, you're just going to do it that much more versus like if you do it by yourself. you're not going to do it. And I think there is something about the
Mm,
placebo effect. If you saw like, hang on, what? He got an investment? No way. Like, and that's going to make you like want to go after it that much more because
yeah.
you only really believe you can do something when you see it happening in front of your face.
Mm,
You know, it has to click for you. And when it clicks, that's when it's game over.
mm. I understand. Wow, that's I think it's true beyond anything. That's completely true, man. I mean, look, someone is getting in the industry, right? From your professional perspective over the years, having found Product Gym and interacted with honestly hundreds and thousands of people, what's the one common mistake you're seeing a lot of people make very early on that if they corrected, they could set themselves up a lot quicker and be successful a lot faster?
As a product manager,
Yeah, as a product manager learning AI, what's that one mistake you keep seeing that if you could fix earlier, you get more successful earlier?
doing it by themselves and not being accountable. So, like,
Okay.
okay, so like, I'm in the eighth year of my entrepreneurship journey, and people constantly tell me, they're like, you keep on asking us to pay you $7,000 for this program. And I'm like, I'm not asking you to pay me. I'm asking you to invest in yourself. And most importantly, I'm asking
Mm,
you to invest in your network. When you join a
mm.
$7,000 program, you meet other $7,000 people that's willing to invest that amount of money in yourself.
Wow,
People that spend more money at the gym, they go to the gym more because they're spending more money at the gym. And they also meet other people that are taking the gym
yeah,
that much more seriously, right?
yeah.
Um, so when people are like, they try to go out there and figure out whether or not they can do it on their own, the first thing I did when I made money in my first year was I got myself like a CEO coach because I've never been a CEO. And I figured I'm
Hmm.
really good at what I do. There's got to be a person that's really good at what they do. And I read a lot of books about how to be a CEO, right? The first lesson they do for anybody, doesn't matter if it's me or Elon Musk, is log
Hmm.
everything. What do you want? Like, what do you want as your goal? What kind of life do you want? Do you want to go out there and get funding? Do you want to get an exit? Do you want to go out there and be on Forbes? Or do you want to just make X amount of money and be comfortable, start a family? Log down every single thing you do in a day and do it for 30 days and ask yourself, is what you're freaking doing conducive to what it is that you really want? And there's only two
Mm,
outcomes. What it is that you say you want is not what it is that you really want, or what it is that you say you want is, but you're not living the life that is conducive to getting what it is that you want. And most people,
mm,
unfortunately, they're just lying to themselves. You can't fight
mm,
biology. It's so much. This is why so many people, as soon as they leave the military, or like you see all these podcasts, they're like, oh, I was ex special forces. And as soon as freaking huge gut, big face, it's like, yo, what happened? Drinking all the time. All that discipline is gone because they're no longer part of the unit. That's the
mm,
freaking problem. But they made it through everything together as a freaking unit, right? So the
hmm.
discipline, I think, is like very important. When a lot of people say, like, oh yeah, the market's bad. What time did you wake up? 9:30. How many jobs did you apply to today? Three. Well, no shit.
Mm.
you know, I mean, in New York,
Yeah.
like back in the days, my trainer would just catch me getting a slice of pizza across the street because I lived like half a
Hmm.
block from the gym. And be, yo,
Hmm.
Rich, I thought you said you're getting ready for summer, man. But the thing is, like, most people, they cheat on themselves. They lie to
Mm,
themselves. So if you know you're gonna do that, then make it easier for yourself and don't give yourself the opportunity. CrossFit works as a business model because they turn CrossFit into your whole lifestyle. Most people cannot sustain healthy living because their friends are drinking, their friends are eating bad. When you join CrossFit, that's the thing. Like all of a sudden, it's like shit. I'm watching the new. Batman movie with my CrossFit friends. Instead of going to
Mm,
the bar, I'm going to the juice bar with my CrossFit friends. Instead of getting
mm,
caffeine, I'm doing a walk in nature with my CrossFit friends. They're making it easy for people because most people can't afford a trainer on a one-on-one basis, right? Most
mm,
people definitely can't afford a team. Like, even if you can afford a trainer, at most you can get them for like what, 1 hour out of the week, 2 hours out of the week, maybe 3 hours out of the week. Like,
mm,
if you sign up, dude, Michael B. Jordan for the Creed movie he did, they put him up in a house in LA,
mm.
driver, chef, trainer, masseuse, nutritionist, chiropractor,
Yeah,
train coach.
yeah.
It was like every hour that guy was like, it's like your chances of effing up is like so low. This is why
Mm,
rich kids get into the best schools because they have nonstop tutors. 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, you got
mm,
your French tutor. The poor kid's gonna have to study
mm.
French on their own, right?
Yeah.
4 o'clock to like 4 o'clock to 4:30 break time. Made already made you your snack. 4:30 to
Mm,
5:30 is swimming. Swim coach is already there, right? So
yeah.
make your community, make your
Mm,
goals part of your community so it's easy. Because most people is like, oh man, it's like I gotta do 50 push-ups today. Well, if all your friends are doing 50 push-ups, it's easy. Right. So
mm,
like, yeah. So like I would say like the last thing I would say before we break today for today's podcast, I appreciate your time too, is
mm,
if you want to be successful, the
mm,
easiest thing to do is to change your environment. This is why,
mm,
like, if you're not in a good environment, you have to get out of your environment. You have to
mm,
make your surroundings more conducive to success. Like,
mm,
don't freaking have, I never really have, like, if somebody came into my apartment, right, I don't have alcohol in my apartment because I drink it.
mm,
Whenever I throw a party at my place, I would just hand out the alcohol to my friends. Like, you take this one,
mm,
you take this one. Okay, here's half a bottle. You take this one, right? Or like I just go out there and chuck it out. Because like the truth is,
mm,
like, when you make your environment conducive to bad habits, then like you're not going to go out there and get to the goal. So we want to make learning AI fun, and we want to make it accessible to people, but you're not going to want to do
mm,
anything consistently for a long period of time if you're not enjoying it. Americans are not wired to be that unhappy. This is not North Korea.
mm.
You can't do something
Yeah.
consistently over a long period of time at a high level without wanting to kill yourself. So like
Mhm,
if you make they say this in that book Atomic Habits, make your goals, make your process your goals. And the first thing he talks about is change your environment, So
mm,
like, yeah, that's what I would go out there and say. If like, that's why like the top level people, they're all like in the major cities and stuff, because like everybody,
mhm,
when I left LA to go to New York, I felt like everybody in New York was doing so much. Like people are doing like an MBA program. People are like they're part of like some kind of like league soccer team, basketball team, and they all had full-time
mhm,
jobs and everybody was juggling birthday parties. In LA, we don't work that much. We like prioritize work-life balance like crazy because the sun's always shining, right? In New York, everybody's like always doing
mhm,
more, 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 more. If you're in that environment, you don't really feel like you're doing that much. But in LA, you feel like you're doing a lot. In New York, walking 15, 20
mhm,
blocks doesn't feel like that much. It was like, oh yeah, this is down the street. But in LA, it's like, holy God. It's the same distance, but it feels so much longer because nobody's walking in LA,
mhm.
So yeah, man. With that said, like thank you so much for spending your time too to do the podcast with us. We love it. Go
Thank
out there
you.
and talk to you soon, all right?
Yeah, thanks for being here, man. Thank you so much, Rich. Thank you. Very insightful. Bye.